Hello everybody, I'm Card Gaming and welcome back to the Pillars of Eternity universe with White March Part 2. If you haven't checked out the previous part of the White March or the Pillars of Eternity campaign, there's a playlist link down below where you can follow my adventures. But to start Part 2 of the White March, we had to leave the White March areas in order to start the Forgotten Army after rest. So we are back here at Caed Nua. I'm still kind of banged up from our last adventure when we killed the Archmaid Consulhout over at, what was it called? Just Consulhout's Cragholt Bluffs. So, without further ado, let's have a rest and we'll get some might bonus. As you sleep, you are buoyed and buffeted by the vagaries of dreams. They tumble and thrash about you and fill your mind's eye with pale glittering motes. They resolve into a light snowfall and a biting northerly wind. You recognize the mountains of the White March rising around you and you shiver. You see Stalwart a few miles away, quiet and still, but for a few curling streams of smoke rising from the chimneys. Durgan's battery is perched above it, its shadow stretching into the valley. Above it all, you hear a deep, slow rhythm. At first, it sounds like a distant drumming, but then it grows louder, cracking through the dry air and booming from the mountain peaks. It builds until you feel it reverberating beneath your feet. I would like to go to Stalwart. You head towards the village, but soon the shaking ground halts your progress. Each thud comes louder and faster than the next. Thunder echoes from the mountaintops as great sheets of ice and snow tumble down the slopes. But the rhythm keeps building, shattering frozen lakes like crystal saucers. New ravines split through the mountains as old chasms fill with snow and scree. A rock slide buries Stalwart and Durgan's battery is shaken into rubble. Shadows rise over the mountains, the vanguard of a massive army. You flee. You tumble from the foothills and bound across the deerwood, feeling the rumble of the advancing army all the while. I would barricade myself in Caed Nua, our stronghold. Caed Nua rises from the forests, its mended walls reaching out to you like a pair of strong arms. You barricade yourself within the Great Hall as the pounding grows closer still. It rattles the foundations of the Great Keep, and just as the masonry begins shaking loose, you hear an unholy battle cry coming from your courtyard. The ceiling collapses and sends a cascade of bricks and beams onto your head. You struggle to wakefulness, kicking at the bedding knotted around your legs. As you shake free from the last bonds of sleep, you hear a voice whisper something in a language you've never heard, and see an image of 100 shifting, staring eyes. You awaken, feverishly warm and covered in sweat. Seek information about the army in Stalwart. We can do that. We should probably head out over hither. Is the closest part. Now, this just like the first part of the White March, this takes place before we finish the game, which is a shame. I do like having the option to keep going after the game is done. We will go with this party. We have the two White March new characters. We have Zahua and the Devil of Karok. And we want to head to the White March and Stalwart Village. Ah, here we are, back at Stalwart. Oh, what's happening?
While we wait, the enemy grows stronger.
And you'd send more of us to die!
Well, I'm not gonna stand around. Are you?
You've done plenty, Darian!
You approach the source of the commotion and see a throng of villagers. They're arguing amongst themselves and hurling questions and demands at a lone figure perched above them. A young man stands on a spur of rocks, his clenched fist held aloft. Steam rises from his wild hair and flushed face as he shouts to the gathering. Now, if you remember in the White March Part 1, we found out that the dwarves at Durgan's battery were massacred by some unknown enemy who just wrecked their shit and killed everyone in there. But we managed to get the White Forge up and running again. Or the White Forge? No? What was it called that? Something Forge.
Been a week since our people left these gates. A week since the Iron Flail took them.
The Iron Flail? Is that the enemy? I mean, I thought it was like, fire golems or something. It seemed like some big, powerful enemy. He paces the outcropping, his eyes burning. You see a few scattered nods in the crowd.
Yet we wait here behind our sturdy new walls, hiding in our rebuilt homes. We've done nothing.
He brings his fist into his palm with a sharp smack. The crowd erupts, bristling with pointed fingers and pointed words. One woman steps forward. Her eyes lock on the young man.
Who are you to tell us how to defend our own? You ain't been here 2 months!
I agree, I haven't seen you before here. Several of the others grunt and hoot. You feel a shift in the crowd like a changing tide.
Hey, an angry mob. See? We're not so far from home.
Ha! Reminds me of when we first met Adir, my good friend.
And since I got here, I've been working alongside the rest of you. Don't start with that again.
A handful of others nod along with him, but they cringe and flinch as another villager joins the fray, shaking his finger at the young orator.
Well, it was your idea to send our people to that damned fort in the first place. If it weren't for you and the other leeches that come up with you, we wouldn't be in this mess.
The new cruiser raises a chorus of furious cries. Darian raises his hand for calm, but the crowd's wrath is snowballing. I better step in before they lynch him. Everyone stop. A dozen heads turn in your direction. The villagers' curiosity turns to fury as they recognize you. Wait! What do you mean fury? I'm the hero of stalwarts. Relax, I'm here to help.
Then you know about the Iron Flail. You'll stop them?
The other villagers whisper and cluck, their hopes still diluted by fear.
Showed up a few weeks after you opened the battery. Demanded we give him the White Forge.
Ah, the White Forge, I was right. He avoids your gaze, scraping his boot against a rock. Oh, is he hiding something?
They're led by a Darek Sendamir. Comes from an old Rayed Saren family. The rumor has it the man's half mad with visions. Claims one drove him here to take the White Forge.
In Zawa's experience, if one is only half mad with visions, the dose was too low.
Heh. Well, you'd know.
They're not the only bloodsuckers around here.
The villager glares up at Darian, but most of his fellows are ignoring him by now. Darian raises his voice above the ruckus.
Our crew at the battery locked their doors and told the Iron Flail to go back to Rayed Saris. Instead, they built a fort in the middle of the wood. So we sent a committee to reason with them. But that was a week ago. We haven't seen our people since.
A low rumble ripples through the crowd. Darian hesitates.
That can only mean one thing.
He grimaces as the frightened Argan crowd drowns him out once more. I mean, I want to see what these Rayed Sarens want before I do this. But I do have a soft spot for Stalwart after I helped them with the ogres. Let's go with the neutral choice then. Can't you share the White Forge with the Rayed Sarens? The villagers shout and squawk louder than ever.
After what they did to our neighbors?
Only thing they know how to do is start wars.
Maybe we could nudge them into torching their own village.
Please, everyone!
In the fragile silence that follows, the others turn and look at Darian.
Whatever our difference is, we've got to deal with the army at our gates.
What do you mean he looks back at you? I mean, is he gonna tell me to clear out the army?
You may be the only person around here who's more unpopular than I am. But if anyone could get into that fort and deal with an army, it's you.
What do you mean unpopular? The mayor is a good friend. And I gave you the White Forge, this village. They should have prosperity. This army is not my fault.
The Iron Flail cleared a patch of forest north of Durgan's battery, built their fort there. It'll be well guarded, so if you can get in without raising an alarm, you may have an easier time of it. The important thing is to deal with the commander. If you can get rid of him, the rest of the soldiers will scatter.
Should I say that I've dreamed about this army? He might think I'm crazy, and the crowd might turn against me. Let's see what happens.
What exactly did you see?
He watches you with wide, wondering eyes. A murmur ripples through the crowd. Oh. I should probably not tell them Stalwart was destroyed. They'd go into frenzy. The dream was unclear.
Of course. We're just thankful this dream led you back. Anyway, we've got our work cut out for us here.
He gives the crowd a purposeful look. Grumbling, they start to disperse.
While you're out, stop by the battery. Wangra and her team are still repairing the heavy cannons, but they've made a lot of progress elsewhere. Thought you might like to see how far it's come.
Sure. Can I ask you something first?
Haven't been here long, but I'll tell you what I can.
Tell me about the Iron Flail.
They heard about the White Forge and came running, just like a lot of us did. Only difference is, they brought siege weapons. As best anyone can tell, they're from the border region near Little Bend, one of the poorest parts of the country. For Raid Ceres, well, that's saying something.
What brought you here to Stalwart?
Work. I was a cobbler in New Yarma, but the city got more crowded every year. Rural types fleeing the legacy. A couple months ago, I heard Stalwart was offering land and opportunity to new settlers, so figured I'd give it a go out here. For a while, folks seemed glad to have some new blood, but that changed as more and more of us came.
There seems to be a lot of tension around this town.
Before you opened Durgan's battery, people tell me Stalwart barely had enough warm bodies to keep the town running.
Yeah, I can attest to that.
A bunch of us came when we heard about the White Forge, but now, I think the old-timers would just as soon send us back.
He begins taking items off of his finger.
We take the best jobs, we don't pay our respects to Andra, we're overcrowding the town. I get it. Stalwart's changing. Same thing happened in New Yarma when folk moved in from the countryside. But they can't keep blaming us for everything that goes wrong out here.
He sighs, and the steaming cloud escapes his lips.
I'm just hoping they'll calm down once the Iron Flail is gone.
Alright, thank you for that. The crowd cleared out. Iduran, do you have any new merchandise for me? Is it true? I saw the lights from the battery. Did you really open it? The Orlan clasped his hand in wonder. I mean, that was like days ago. I mean, weeks ago or months ago in your timeline. I can't believe it! I was sure I'd never make this route again. But who knows what rarities will come from those halls, Such an exciting time. Let's see if you have anything new. Ultimate Hat of Alluring Perfection. That is quite the name. The Ultimate Hat. I kind of want it just for the name. So let's see. Might and Constitution. Simpleton? That doesn't sound good. -2 Intellect, -2 Resolve. Well, that explains the weird name. It's a dumb name, because it gives intellect penalty. Rufix Watful Cloak. Observant. 2 enemies needed to flank. That could be pretty good for my tank. It's only a 10. I might want to get that. I'm not sure what everyone is wearing right now. I did have a quick look, but it's been a while since I last played this. I do have plenty of cash though, so we'll pick that up. Tenacity, Hardy, Accurate, Tundra Hood. I could use some potions. I'll take all of them. And we do have some crafting stuff. I think I'm pretty good on these. Maybe I'll take those. And trade. We'll put that in our thingy. Oh, I can't do that from here. So we got the forts to check out, and we got the battery itself. They might have some cool merchants now. So you were using Retaliation Crush-Proofed Peters. Retaliation is pretty damn good. Characters hitting self. So everyone that hits him takes pierce damage. That is pretty awesome. So who wants this? Observant and Perception. Maybe give them to Zahua or the Devil, because they are in melee range. Or Pelagina. Perception, Resolve, Dexterity. And you're using Retaliation, that's good. Or of Stealth. I think she might be better off with this. She has been taking a lot of damage before, so that is gonna be a-okay for her. I should probably check in with the mayor about all this, shouldn't I?
Mila, where have you got to this time?
What? Mila? The woman looks at you like she's used to hearing bad news. She shakes her head and holds up her hands before you can even begin. Look, you can tell Hammond that I ain't seen Mila all day, and besides, he ought to keep a better eye on his shop if he don't want little uns poking around. What's this about? She blinks and is suddenly embarrassed. Oh, you're the one who opened up the battery, aren't you? It's really nothing someone like you should be concerned about. I'm appreciative that someone gives me the respect I deserve. Actually, it's my girl, Mila. Been getting herself into all sorts of trouble, poking around that Hammond's Emporium. What's Hammond Emporium? Hammond's Emporium. New shop. Village where Katie's home used to be, near the Western Palisade. Hammond's one of them that came up from the Deerwood. Sells good steel, but just about holds his nose every time he crosses paths with one of us. Where's Mila? She backs away like she's been slapped. Sorry. It's hard keeping track of her. Don't be so hard on yourself. I'm sure she'll turn up. Do you need any help finding her? She's been out for quite a while now. That's nothing new. Still, I can't help but worry that she's been gone and gotten herself into some trouble. If you keep an eye or two open for her while you're in town, I'd appreciate it. I'll make sure she's not in any trouble, if I can. Oh, thank you. Everyone is so busy these days with the mines and the forge opening up again. It's kind of you to help. Sure, I'll keep a lookout. Now, this is the new shop. Remember, in part 1, we failed miserably to save people in this burning building here? That was a low point in my Pillars of Eternity adventure.
Would I interest you in a new blade?
You can! Some villagers. You are the one I want to talk to. The shopkeeper's clothes seem a little nicer, if not terribly warm, compared to what you've seen around Stalwart. His hair is immaculately coiffed, and his rosy cheeks look like they've barely been touched by the mountain winds. Welcome, welcome! I've got arms and armor all top quality. Or perhaps you'd like to see potions? Please have a look around. There's a little girl called Mila that comes around here. I heard she's been causing trouble for you. She's out of control, though I suppose one can hardly blame her, what with the way her own mother always screaming at her. He leans across the counter to speak with you in a conspiratorial whisper. I mean, where do you think that little rascal learns that kind of behavior, He tilts his head. The only person I've ever seen give her a proper talking to is that wild woman who loiters by the hut just south of here. Aska, that's her name. I don't know what it was all about, but the girl's eyes were this big. He curves his hand into circles as large as goose eggs. But I suppose someone's got to do it. I told the girl's mother I'd be speaking with Mayor Tarfus if I caught her picking around my shop again, so I guess it worked. What's the mayor's name, Tarfus, or do they have a new mayor? Show me what you have for sale, though. Maybe you have something good. Some good yellow stuff. The colored coat. Armor speed penalty. Wicked Briars. An AoE. Okay. Not that great. What else you got? Argues Adra's helm, resolve +3. Oh, he carries many scars helm! Didn't I have a he carries many scars armor? Can I check that? Let's see, armor, sort by high to low. I think someone is wearing it. Athletic and preservation. That's not very good. Maybe there's no like set bonus. Sanguine plates helm. Breakout. Stun duration and knockdown duration. That might be good. I would like to check what you are using now. Resolve and perception. Do you have any duplicates for perception and resolve? Nothing is inactive right now, so they can stack if you aren't aware. Maybe I'll get that for someone else. Where was it? Sanguine plate. Knockdown and stun has been known to mess me up before, and it's only 825. I'll just get it. Anything else we want? Any of these scrolls? Prayer against treachery. Immunity to charm. But I don't think we have anyone with high enough lore. We're running with a less of a magical party right now. I mean, we do have some like nature magic, we have holy magic, and I guess sort of holy magic with the monk over there. But I think that'll do. Alright, let's get back out. He said something about there being a woman over here. Aska!
Blazes. What am I to do with all of these?
A well-built dwarven woman stands before you, one hand on her head and the other holding a few sheets of paper. 3 complaints of blights in Whitestone Hollow. And who are those people? Magrand's faithful? Great. Another pack of religious zealots. Or are you gonna hand out my side quests or bounties? It's like they're popping up out of the snow these days. She glances up at you. Oh, sorry, Alana. Just a little preoccupied. Things may have quieted down some with the ogres lately, but there's been no shortage of new trouble. Or work for those interested, just saying. I heard you scolded Royce's girl. She cocks her head, thinking for a moment. Then she begins laughing. You know what that girl did? Snatched a whole chicken from the Gref's nest, raw. Told her I'd better not catch her thieving again, but I was trying my damnedest not to laugh. Funny kid. She wipes a tear from the corner of her eye. But it's gotta be rough on her, you know? Her old man's working at the battery, and he's one absence away from getting fired again. Blazes. Only reason Ledgard still has a job is cause Wingris a softy beneath all that soot. But Milla, she showed up at the battery the other day and nearly got him sacked. Since then, I've seen her keep it to herself. Spends a lot of time at the temple, come to think of it. Well, I'll be sure to take a look at that. And I'm not sure if I'm gonna do side quests on camera. We'll see how the views go. But for now, we're gonna leave it at that. And then we are gonna check out the temple and head over to the battery. However, that is gonna be a tale for another day. If you like this series and want to see it continue, the best way to let me know that is by thumbsing up, leaving comments below, and getting the views up by sharing it around. Subscribe if you haven't already, of course. Thank you for watching. I will see you guys next time.